Hello, chess fans of New England. Another setup here with Comprehensive Chess. Anthony here. Going to do a little game analysis. This is one of my favorite games that I've ever played of all time. This is basically in the Continental Open. I'm black against Carissa Yip. She was just under 2,300. I played in the women's championship a few weeks prior to this match. It was the first round, and I was playing in the open section, and basically I was just trying to make things interesting. I think that I played pretty well. She makes a couple of key mistakes, and then the game gets a little tricky. I could have played better, and we'll go over that. I'm going to try to keep this to about 15 minutes tops. Game analysis can get really long and tiring, so we're going to try not to do that. And have some fun. I'll joke around, and at the end, I'll talk a little bit about the next steps for the week. And here we go. So I was black, so I'm going to flip this board around real quick. And here we go. So she opened with e4, and we went into a French. I was nervous going into this French because she plays the French as well, and she was playing very well at the time. So I was definitely felt like I might be walking into some preparation. But we walk into a Tarrasch. So here I realized, like, I don't do well with this setup. So I try to get it out of book pretty quick and avoid staying around, in mainline waters. But anyway, so we continue pretty much the standard line here. Bishop d3, c5, and you have to do something about the bishop. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem with it going. Let's see if I can figure out how to do an arrow here. Guess not. I'm new at this chess base. There we go. Ah, look at that, like a pro. All right, so basically you're threatening this. So c3 is generally played, and all right, so standard stuff here. So knight e2. So this is the main line. Is to put the knight here. You can play f4. You can play knight f3. In this position here, you can play either one of these moves, reinforcing e5 and trying to strengthen the center. I have less problems with either of these moves. They're kind of an offshoot. Knight e2, on the other hand, is not as clear for me anyway. So the standard line is to take here and then play f6, and there's always an offshoot line of knight f4. So that's what happens. I play f6. She doesn't play knight f4, so this is a line though that's important to know. Lots of threats. So the main line is here, and then after the take, king goes up, takes here, knight takes, check, takes here, king here. So a lot has gone on, but this is a weird line, and black needs to know it. It's tough for white to play too, but it's harder for black, I think. Maybe in standard games it's a little easier. There's some traps, so you obviously can't move this knight, or the bishop comes here, checks, and you win the queen. So it's not as easy as it looks, and there are TM games in that line, but it is an offshoot. E takes f6 is the main line. Knight takes, castles, bishop d6. So here we are. We're in pretty much standard position here. This is pretty much the normal line, and now white has a decision to make on how kind of she wants to play this, because there's numerous ways to do it, and she goes into pretty regular stuff with knight f3. She's preparing to challenge this diagonal, and the normal move here is queen to c7, double guarding that square, Then the bishop develops to like e3. The rook comes over to c1. Annoying little pin here, and I know this line, but it's kind of annoying in my opinion. Just I don't know, something about it. I think it's natural for white to play. So I played a different line. So I castled. She challenges. I take it. Here, all standard stuff. And now this queen does d6. So this is equal, more or less. The only line that holds an advantage for white is the very computer-like move of g3. And I don't know. To me, this line looks like a computer idea. I mean, you're creating all these holes around the king. Your bishop is nowhere near being able to guard it. You have to worry about. Sorry. You have to be worried about, sorry about that, technical difficulties. So you have all these weaknesses around the king. I think you have to be worried about a potential push here, and then this is coming, into the game on either this diagonal or this diagonal. The rook's already got pressure on a basically uncovered piece, and that works with the pin. And I don't know, this seems very computer-like to me. Maybe you disagree. Leave a comment if you disagree on that, but I personally find this to be a very computer-like move, and it's not what she played, and it's the only move that holds an advantage for white, and you have to really know what you're doing. But knight e2 is what was played, and then the immediate break. Bunch of trades here, and I felt pretty good at this point. I have this centralized queen. We've traded some pieces. My weak bishop is no longer weak, although I do have this isolated pawn. It could potentially be a good pawn. Maybe we trade the bishops. The rook comes here. Try to have to blockade on a dark square. I don't know. It to me, it looked okay. I'm happy with where I am. But so after that, with knight c3. So this move is interesting to me because I originally thought the concept was going to be to block on the dark square. The bishop looks like it's in a good place. Move the queen maybe out here, make a threat. But the idea I thought was to blockade this, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. This was a little less of a problem, I thought. Now I get I was doing well. This is a terrible move. So f4 is her response. So the idea here is that there's obviously a cheap threat here. There's also weird threats on this diagonal in general, coordinating all four of these pieces. But it's still really weak. It's not good. f4 pretty much holds the line. Okay, so now, you can tell from this position that black has gone a little wayward because the queen went from here to here. So I think that's pretty obvious. Worried about phantoms, I think. Maybe the knight, I don't know. To me, this is a little bit too weakening and a little bit too defensive. Allows me to finish my development. b4 expanding. Again, allows me to finish development. So this position here, I think she's playing fairly well. I defend it. She attacks. Bishop comes to f7. So to me, this position looks okay for black, but this queen is out of play. So we need to figure that out. But maybe we come, over here and put some pressure on that. But in any case, I think that's where we made our mistake. This move is not good. It has a flawed idea. This pawn is not good to take. It's poison. And my response to this is where the game starts to go really well for black. So knight h5, and now you can't defend that pawn, believe it or not. It's not defendable. If you push it, which is about your only move, to try to hold it, which is not going to work that well, but here you got discoveries on the queen as well. I don't know. This does not look good. I don't see how you're holding that pawn for very long. Something even as simple as just pushing here, hitting the queen on this. This will expose that. I don't know. It doesn't look very healthy to me. She agreed because she just moved the king out of the way and got off the file. All right. So I take. She takes. Now this is okay. So for black in this position, it looks like we traded pawns, but there's sizable advantages to be had here with intermezzos and starting to use this. Starting to use this isolated pawn to your advantage, and the fact that this king, has two, three, four of my pieces over there, and basically nothing over there. So, all right. So here we go. So now we're attacking queen. If queen a3, for example, this just wins. So queen b1. Okay. Rook c3 anyway. Oh, excuse me. Bishop takes h7. Interesting concept. There's a lot of sack ideas here that she has to be very careful of. The coordination of these three pieces. So, okay. And now she's got a bit of a problem. So, she can't just ignore stuff. If she ignores stuff, then you're going to run into some issues. Obviously, you can just... there's sacking problems, there's bishop maneuvers that are problems. For example, here, that protects this, and now this is hanging. So she's got to do something. So this is an interesting idea. It's not a good idea, and I completely missed the concept. So here's a really wild line I wanted to show. Probably one of the only deep lines that I missed that I wanted to show you guys really quick to kind of give you an idea that I had a much better finish. So here in this position, if the sack comes, it's not so easy. So the rook is being hit. Let's take some stock here. The rook is being hit, and there's a fourth threat here. So if you do nothing, you're going to lose quite a bit. There's an exposed second rank now. You've got this fourth threat. If you try to get crazy by moving down here and winning the bishop, remember your bishop is hanging, so I can fork, and the rook takes. So for example, if you drop down here and do something like this, the fork looks pretty obvious to me. And now what do? You got a problem. You don't have time for the things you want to do. If you try to get creative, you got a rook just hanging now. And yes, it's not good. So I think you have to take it. And if you do, then there's this amazing move. Check. So I'm going to let you think about it for a couple seconds here and realize just how good it really is. This is the move I missed. It would have made a huge difference, I think, and I missed it. So if queen takes, then this, and you're dead. Game over. Here, check. You have to block with this, and you're toast. So that is a beautiful combination that I missed. And I played relatively lousy G5. So I'm doing okay here, but I'm not doing nearly as well as I was. There's still some craziness, but I'm looking at the fact that this piece is lost. I guess I obsess over the fact that this piece is lost at this point. After G5, you can't get the bishop out of there. This is now protected. You can't challenge it. I've got threats here and here, and I thought I was just doing well, but I am, but it's not as good as mating. So, okay. Threatening the rook, threatening the pawn, threatening to kind of get this other piece, into the king side, and maybe that's why G5 isn't as good, because it does keep my king a little loose. This is a good response, though. You have, the hit here, and you've got a double attack here. So there are now 1, 2, 3, 4 white pieces under attack all at once, and under attack and under defended. This is loose. This is protected, but not by it's being attacked by a smaller piece. This is obviously being attacked by a smaller piece, and this is underprotected. So now she starts to realize it's falling apart. So, for what it's worth. So the check. With the check, you just simply take the bishop. Grab a piece after here. Trade rooks. So this is again another complicated situation where if she tries to do anything silly, you got to remember that this is all going to fall. Trying to get in there with a check, loosening my position up, but it's all desperation at this point. Knight takes h3 is an extremely good move. It finishes the game off pretty well. You have threats coming, and she can't get to them fast enough. And the cute part about this move is that it defends White's one and only threat at the same time. She's in time trouble at this point. It's a check, king back, rook takes. I mean, you can take the free material, but after you trade here, and maybe this knight gets dropped, you're up in exchange, but it's not, you're pretty loose. This pawn is loose. These pawns are terrible. I don't know. You got better right here. So the idea is that she resigned in this position, but if you play to the corner, then I have mate here. If you play up, I have mate here. And this rook playing a central role in cutting the king off and defending the knight. So, yeah. Instead, she resigned in this position. So that was my game against Carissa Yip. It was a long time ago at this point. It was like 2011, I think, or 2012. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up to know exactly when it happened. But that's my game. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave comments. Let me know what you think. A little over 15 minutes, but we're going to keep it under 20. That's the goal. Later on in the week, I'm going to probably do some analysis of another game from the club that I liked, that I feel was one of the better games I've played in a while. And then we'll go from there. We do have a match coming up with me and Clay. That's going to be fun, but he's on vacation right now, so it's going to take a couple of weeks for that to happen. And we'll kind of go from there. Website's still going. I just got off my work week, so I have the rest of the week to kind of look at it. And hope you enjoyed this. Let me know any feedback, and I'll see you next time. Stay breezy.